K. Bhaskar, assistant professor in Department of Chemistry at SRR Government Arts and Science College. In this video, I am going to give a presentation on the topic that is Sedgwick theory. If time permits, I will also go through the nomenclature of the coordination compounds, that is complexes. Right? So in the last, if you see my last two video presentations, we have covered the two topics, that is introduction to coordination chemistry, in which we have gone through the terms involved in coordination chemistry, why to study coordination chemistry, what is coordination chemistry, what are the applications of coordination chemistry, and as well we have also covered Werner theory. Right? So Werner has proposed his theory to explain the characteristics of coordination compounds. If you recollect it, you know, according to Werner theory, Werner proposed that metal has two types of valencies, primary valency, secondary valency, and he explained the structure of a complex, and also using his theory we can predict the information about the isomerism of a complex. At the same time, if you look at the evidences of the Werner theory, based on the Werner theory we can explain the type of an electrolyte and how many particles do we get when we dissolve a complex in aqueous solution. Right? So here I would like to mention you one thing before going into this topic, that is Sedgwick theory. Right? So various theories were proposed to explain the characteristics of coordination chemistry. The very first theory is Werner theory, and Werner has proposed his theory before the electronic structure of the matter was known to the world. Right? Before the electronic structure of matter was known to us, Werner has proposed his theory. But later, in 1923, the scientists Sedgwick and Lowry, they proposed the electronic structure of matter. So thereby it become necessary to modify the Werner theory. So thereby the Werner theory has been modified, that is nothing but Sedgwick theory. So Sedgwick tried to explain the Werner postulates, that is primary valency and secondary valency of the metal with respect to electronic structure. Right? So in this video now we are going to know about the Sedgwick theory. Right? So before that, again and again I am repeatedly mentioning you about the importance of the terms involved in coordination chemistry. These are very basic terms, and if you know these terms only, if you know these basics only, you can easily understand all the topics in coordination chemistry. So that's why please go through the terms involved in coordination chemistry. Right? If you don't know these terms, you better go through the last video presentation. Right? Right. If you see this slide, now we are discussing about the Sedgwick theory. Right? So these theories were proposed to explain the characteristics of coordination compounds, that is to explain the structure, that is geometry, as well as stability, reactivities, to compare the reactivities of complexes, as well as the properties of complexes like magnetic properties, as well as color properties, spectral properties, these theories were proposed. Of course, in Werner theory, just we explain the structure, and remaining things he has not explained, he has not touched at all, remaining things. Now in Sedgwick theory, just he discussed the stability, just he explained the stability of the complex. Stability of the complex based on a rule that is called EAN rule. EAN rule, which is also known as effective atomic number. Based on this effective atomic number EAN rule, Sedgwick has tried to explain the stability of the complexes, right? And apart from this, he also explained the nature of bond between the metal and ligand. That means in the Werner theory, according to the Werner theory, metal has two types of valencies, primary valency as well as secondary valency. But after the development of electronic structure of elements, the Werner theory was modified. Werner theory was modified. So in modified Werner's theory, Werner's primary valency was regarded as formed by the electronic transfer, right? At the same time, the secondary valency is due to the formation of is formed due to the electron pair sharing between the metal and ligand. So in this way, Sedgwick has explained two things. One is the nature of metal, nature of metal bond, that is the bond nature between the metal and ligand in a complex, as well as he also tried to explain the stabilities of various complexes using the rule that is EAN rule. Let us go through the important points given by the Sedgwick theory one by one. Right? You can see in this slide, the very first important point is the primary valency, that is Werner's primary valency, is due to the complete transfer of electrons from the metal to the ligand. Right? That means here the nature of bond between the metal and ligand due to this primary valency is nothing but ionic bond. Here it is ionic bond. Right. The second one is the Werner's secondary valency is due to the electron pair sharing between the metal and ligand, but it is not equals to the covalent bond. Here the electron pair is donated by the ligand to the metal, so thereby we can say that the secondary valency is formed due to the donation of an electron pair from the ligand to the metal, right? So therefore we can say that this bond is nothing but coordinate covalent bond. This bond is nothing but coordinate covalent bond. Here the metal is a electron pair acceptor, whereas ligand is a electron pair donor, right? So you can see here that from this example we can clearly understand the above points given by the Sedgwick theory. Here you can see at the left side of the image, that is the structure which we have seen in the Werner theory. So the complex, in the complex, the cobalt atom, metal atom, is having two types of bonds, two types of valencies. One is primary valency, which is ionizable valency. It is denoted by dotted line, satisfied by negative ligands. It has no direction at all. Here in this complex, the primary valency, you can see dotted lines, 3 chloride ions. So this primary valency is denoted by dotted lines, whereas secondary valency, you can see it has structure, because secondary valency decides the geometry according to Werner theory. So therefore here the 6 bonds are oriented around the metal in an octahedral manner. it has a particular direction. These are non-ionizable valency, right? So according to our Sedgwick concept, the primary valency is due to the complete transfer of electrons from the metal to the other molecule, that is ligand. So here the primary valency is due to the ionic nature. You can see here in the picture the 3 chloride ions are connected to the complex, that is cobalt, due to the ionic bond, +3 charge on the complex, Cl minus charge on the chloride ion. So therefore these 3 chloride ligands, chloroligands, are connected to the cobalt in an ionic bond manner, right? So here the primary valency in Werner theory is, here it is due to the ionic bond. Here he tried to explain the nature of the bond, right? The primary valency according to Werner theory, now it is due to the ionic bond. It is due to the complete transfer of electrons from the metal to the ligand. So thereby the cobalt gets +3 charge. So 3 chloride ions will get minus charge, right? This is first thing. Second one is the secondary valency is due to the donation of electron pairs from the ligand to the metal atom. Here the metal, you can see here arrow mark. You can see here arrow mark between the ligands and the cobalt, right? So here the ligand is a electron pair donor, metal is a electron pair acceptor, right? Such type of electron pair sharing is nothing but, electron pair sharing is usually we'll call them as a covalent bond. But here what happened here? This is a special form of covalent bond in which one side of the bond atom, that is group ligand, has donated the electron pair and shared equally between the two. So such type of bond is called as coordinate covalent bond or semi-polar bond, right? Such type of bond is always indicated by an arrow. Indicated by an arrow. You can see here it is indicated by an arrow. The head representing the acceptor atom, that is cobalt atom, whereas the tail, the donor atom, tail represents the donor atom, head represents the acceptor atom. So that's why we have indicated the arrow from the donor side, that is amine ligand, to the acceptor atom, that is cobalt, right? So this is a coordinate covalent bond, right? Just two things. One is primary valency is due to the ionic bond, complete transfer of electrons from the metal to the ligand. Secondary valency is due to the coordinate covalent bond. Here the metal is a electron pair acceptor, ligand is a electron pair donor, right? So we can say that the primary valency is due to the ionic bond, secondary valency is due to the coordinate covalent bond, right? Let us move to the next slide. In this slide you can see here Ml4 complex. Here let us assume L is a monodentate ligand. So here you can see here there is a coordinate covalent bond between the ligand and metal. Ligand has donated the electron pair to the metal. So here from this we can say that metal is electron pair acceptor, ligand is electron pair donor. And here is a question, that is, what is the nature of metal as well as nature of ligand? So here metal is electron pair acceptor, that means it is a Lewis acid. We can say that it is a Lewis acid, whereas ligand is a electron pair donor, therefore we can say it is as a Lewis base. So metal is a Lewis acid, electron pair acceptor, ligand is a Lewis base, electron pair donor, right? Now in this slide let us look into the ENA rule. ENA full form is effective atomic number, right? So what is effective atomic number rule? According to this rule, the metal complex is stable if the effective atomic number is equals to the noble gas configuration. Whichever the metal complex having EAN number equals to the noble gas configuration, then that complex is said to be stable, right? This is known as EAN rule, right? Next, how do we calculate the EAN number? By the formula you can see here, atomic number minus oxidation state plus 2 times of coordination number. So you can see here, in order to decide the stability of a given complex using this rule, we need to calculate the EAN number, effective atomic number of a metal in a complex. So in order to calculate this, one must have clear idea about the atomic number of the given metal in the complex, as well as we need to calculate the oxidation state and what is the coordination number of the metal in the complex. If we don't know these terms, if we don't know how to calculate the oxidation state and how to find the coordination number and what is the atomic number of the metal, then it is not possible to find the EAN number and we cannot decide the stability, right? So always wherever you go, these basics will come along with you. So that's why, so please better go through all the terms involved in coordination chemistry, so that it will become easy to understand all the topics and to apply all the theories. This is very much important for you, right? Right. Let us solve some problems, right? In the slide you can see the first example is, actually it was there is a typographic mistake, that is a hexa coordinated compound, hexaamine cobalt 3 ion. So in this, cobalt atomic number is 27. You can see in the slide, cobalt atomic number is 27, right? So and here the coordination number is 6, because each amine is a monodentate ligand, will form one bond. Such amines we have here 6. So therefore the number of bonds between the metalline ligand is nothing but coordination number. Here we have totally 6 number of bonds between the 6 amine ligands and the cobalt metal. Therefore here the coordination number is 6. What is the oxidation state here? How do we calculate the oxidation state? By an equation, that is the sum of the oxidation states of all the atoms is equals to the charge present on that molecule or the ion. If you see, our complex is a cation having +3 charge, right? So here the cobalt oxidation state plus 6 amine oxidation states will be equals to the charge present on the complex, that is 3. So thereby we get a equation, that is cobalt oxidation number plus 6 amine oxidation number will be equals to the 3. So here amine is a neutral ligand, you know, therefore the oxidation number will be 0 for amine ligand. So thereby finally upon doing calculation we will get cobalt oxidation state in this complex ion is 3 plus 3. That means cobalt has lost 3 electrons while forming the complex ion, right? What does the oxidation number indicates? It is nothing but the number of electrons gained or lost by an atom while forming the molecule. So here the oxidation state of cobalt is +3. That means it has lost. +3 indicates it has lost 3 electrons. It has lost 3 electrons. Usually in a metal complex, always metal oxidation state will be +1 or +2 +3, because metals are electropositive in nature. Their ionization energy is very less. Always they try to lose electrons, thereby the metals will get positive charge, right? So here the oxidation number of cobalt is +3. So before forming the complex, the free cobalt atom is having 27 atomic number. That means it is having 27 electrons with it. Before forming the complex, cobalt free metal atom is having 27 electrons, right? And in this, the cobalt is in +3 oxidation state. That means it has lost 3 electrons. That means we have to remove 3 electrons from the cobalt atom. So you can see here the formula. The formula is also same. The atomic number minus oxidation state. Minus oxidation state, because we have removing the 3 electrons. That means minus oxidation state. Plus, at the same time, while it forming the complex, it will accept the electron pairs from the ligand. Here the number of bonds between the ligand and metal is 6. So therefore the cobalt metal will receive 2 electrons from each of these 6 bonds. So therefore 2 into 6, that is 2 into coordination number. So that's why here the formula is like this: atomic number minus oxidation state plus 2 into coordination number. Atomic number means the number of electrons with the metal initial number of electrons with the metal, minus oxidation state, because during the oxidation state the metal loses electrons, therefore we have to remove the electrons. That's why here the sign is minus, plus 2 into coordination number, because here during the secondary valency, that means the ligand will donate the electron pairs, the metal will accept the electron pair, therefore here the electron will receive the electrons, right? So therefore the effective atomic number formula is very simple to remember, that is atomic number minus oxidation state plus 2 into coordination number. Coordination number is number of bonds between the metal and ligand. Oxidation number we will calculate from the equation, that is sum of the oxidation states will be equals to the charge present on the molecule. So for that, to calculate the coordination number as well as oxidation state, we should have the idea about the category of the ligand, whether the ligand is monodentate or bidentate. That is, we must know the ligand denticity as well as the charge present on the ligand. If we know the charge, we can calculate the oxidation state of the metal, and if we know the denticity, then we can find the coordination number. If we get these two terms, by substituting these two terms in the EAN number, we will get the EAN number of the complex. So you see here, for this complex, the cobalt atomic number is 27, minus oxidation state is 3, therefore minus 3, plus 2 into coordination number. Here the coordination number is 6 plus 2 into 6. So thereby finally we will get EAN number is equals to 36. So what is the difference between the atomic number and effective atomic number? Atomic number is nothing but it is the number of electrons with the metal before forming the complex. Atomic number indicates it is the number of electrons with the metal before forming the complex, that is in free state. What is effective atomic number? Effective atomic number is nothing but the number of electrons, the final number of electrons with the metal after forming the complex. After forming the complex, right? So how do we get the EAN number? That is final number of electrons with the metal in the complex, by this equation, that is atomic number minus loss of electrons during the oxidation state plus 2 into gain of electrons, that is coordination number, right? Oxidation state minus, that is atomic number minus oxidation state plus 2 into coordination number, right? So in this way we need to calculate the EAN number of each complex. So for this complex, the EAN number is 36. You know, always any element will form the complex. Any element will form the molecule or the compound just to get the noble gas configuration. Just to get the noble gas configuration. That is fully filled electronic configuration. We know fully filled electronic state will be stable. Always all the elements will try to get the octet configuration, that is fully filled electronic configuration, so that the elements will combine with the other elements and they form compounds to get the noble gas configuration, nearest to noble gas configuration, that is neon, helium, krypton, argon, xenon, like this. The number is 2, 10, 18, 36, 54, 86. So these are the atomic numbers of noble gases. Helium 2, right? Neon 10, argon 18, krypton 36, xenon 54, radon 86. So these are the noble gases with atomic number. So here in our complex, the metal finally having the EAN number, that is final number of electrons with it, is equals to the 36, that is equals to the noble gas configuration. So therefore this complex is stable. This complex is stable because according to Sedgwick theory, Sedgwick suggested that the metal ion will continue to accept the electron pairs from the ligand till the total number of electrons on the metal ion will become equals to the next higher noble gas configuration, right? So thereby we can say that the total number of electrons with the metal after the formation of the complex is nothing but the effective atomic number. If at all in a complex metal is having EAN number equals to the noble gas configuration, then those complexes are more stable. The remaining complexes are less stable. This is called EAN rule. According to EAN rule, this complex ion is stable, right? The second example is potassium hexacyanoferrate 2 complex. So in this, if you look at the second example, the iron is having 26 atomic number. That means in the free state, the iron atom will be having 26 electrons with it. Here the cyano is a monodentate negative ligand having -1 charge, right? Cyano is a monodentate ligand with a -1 charge. So here each cyano ligand will form one bond. Such cyano ligands are, we are having here 6 number. Therefore the total number of bonds between the 6 cyano ligands and iron atom is 6. So here the coordination number is 6. So each cyanide will donate 2 electrons. Therefore 2 into 6. That's why we will write here 2 into coordination number, right? So here the oxidation state. How do we calculate the oxidation state? The sum of the oxidation states of all the atoms present in a molecule is equals to the charge present on it. Here the total charge on the complex is 0. So therefore in this equation we have written, after 0 we have written it is equals to 0. So at the left side of this equation we have written 4 potassium oxidation numbers, oxidation state, plus iron oxidation state, plus 6 into ammonia oxidation states will be equals to the charge present on the complex, that is 0. So here potassium is a first group element, its oxidation state is +1, so therefore 4 into +1, and iron is a D block element, they exhibit variable oxidation state, so that we are going to find now here, that is iron. We are going to find the oxidation state of the iron in this complex. And amine is a, cyano here, I have written mistake here, this should be cyano ligand. So here cyano ligand is a -1 charge, So therefore 6 into minus 1, here 4 into plus 1. So totally finally we will get iron minus 2 is equals to 0. When we shift this minus 2 to the right side of the equation, finally we will get oxidation state of iron is equals to the plus 2. That means while forming this complex potassium hexacyanoferrate 2, the iron atom has lost 2 electrons. So therefore En number, in the En number equation, atomic number minus oxidation state plus 2 into coordination number, here we will substitute these values. That is, atomic number is 26, oxidation state is plus 2, that means here minus 2, because we are here the metal is losing the electrons, that's why here the sign is minus. So 26 minus 2 plus 2 into 6, so finally we will get 36. Therefore this is also a stable complex. So these two complexes followed the EAN rule, obeyed the EAN rule. That means they are stable complexes and their electron configuration is also noble gas, equals to the noble gas configuration. Right. Let us see some more examples. So in this example, this is a tetra coordinated compound in which the ligand is cyano. This is a negative charged ligand, that is monodentate ligand. So here the coordination number is 4 because it is a monodentate ligand. Each of the ligand will form one bond. Such ligands we have 4, therefore total number of bonds, that is coordination number, is 4. Here the central metal atom is nickel, its oxidation number is 28. Right. So similarly, oxidation state we will calculate by using the equation, that is sum of the oxidation states of all the atoms in a molecule or the ion is equals to the charge present on it. Here the charge is minus 2, therefore in this equation, right side of the equation we have written minus 2. So left side of this equation we have written nickel oxidation state plus 4 into cyano oxidation state. Sorry, here it has to be written as cyano. Right. So here the oxidation state of cyano is minus 1 because it is a negatively charged ligand having minus 1 charge. Therefore by doing the calculation, the oxidation number will be plus 2. That means the nickel, while forming this complex, has lost 2 electrons. Right. Coordination number is 4, atomic number is 28, oxidation state is 2. By substituting these values in EAN formula, finally we got the effective atomic number is 34. Right. This is unstable. According to EAN rule, it should be unstable. But the fact is, this is a stable complex. Right. So here the EAN rule was not obeyed by the complex, but it is stable. According to our concept, whichever the molecule having EAN number equals to 36 should be stable, remaining will be unstable. But here for this complex, even though the EAN number is not equals to the noble gas configuration, but it is stable. So we can say that from this example we can emphasize that though EAN rule is applicable to many of the complexes, but there are several examples in which EAN rule is not obeyed. There are several examples in which EAN rule is not obeyed. Right. So let us see next example, that is tris ethylene diamine cobalt 3 ion. In this, the cobalt atomic number is 27, coordination number. That means here if you see the ligand, number of ligands are 3, but the coordination number is 6 because here the each ethylene diamine ligand will form 2 bonds because its density is 2. Therefore we will get 6 number of bonds between 3 ethylene diamine and cobalt atom. Right. So therefore the coordination number depends on the density. So here it is a bidentate ligand, coordination number is 6. Right. How do you calculate the oxidation state? We calculate the oxidation state by using the equation, that is sum of the oxidation states of all the atoms is equals to the charge present on it. Right. Here again there is a type mistake, that is we should write here the oxidation state of cobalt plus 3 into ethylene diamine oxidation states will be equals to plus 3, right? So here ethylene diamine is a neutral ligand, so therefore its charge is 0. So instead of 6 we have to write here 3. So cobalt plus 3 into 0 will equals to 0. So upon calculation we will get the oxidation state of cobalt will be equals to plus 3. By substituting all these values in this equation we will get EAN number as 36. Here it has obeyed the EAN rule. It is a stable complex and its EAN is also matching with the noble gas configuration. And if you look at this example, nickel tetracarbonyl, here nickel atomic number is 28, carbonyl is a monodentate ligand, we are having 4 number of carbonyl ligands, therefore coordination number is 4. How do we calculate the oxidation state? Sum of the oxidation states of all the atoms will be equals to the 0. So here nickel oxidation state plus 4 into carbonyl oxidation state will become equals to 0. So here nickel plus 4 into 0, because here carbonyl is a neutral ligand, therefore its charge is 0, thereby the oxidation state of nickel is 0. By substituting all these values in this equation we get EAN number of the nickel in this complex is 36. It is equals to the noble gas configuration. This is a stable complex. The second example, another example, if you see here, this is a glycinator ligand, this is a bidentate negative ligand having -1 charge, it is a bidentate ligand, so therefore the coordination number is 6, because it is a bidentate ligand. Each glycine will form 2 bonds, so therefore coordination number is 6. Here nickel atomic number is 28. Glycine oxidation state is -1, because the charge present on glycine, if you look at this structure, then you will know that the charge is -1. So when we substitute that value in the oxidation state calculation, we will get nickel oxidation state is +4, right? So when we substitute all these values in this equation, the EAN number again satisfies the EAN rule, that is here its EAN number is equals to the noble gas configuration. It is also a stable complex, right? So in this way we can say that in some cases, even though EAN rule is applicable in many cases, there are several examples in which EAN rule is not obeyed, right? Right. Now we can say whether this statement is correct or not, whether you agree with the statement given on the slide or not. That is, EAN rule is used to predict the stability of a complex. Yes, we should agree. EAN rule is proposed to predict the stability of the complex. Of course, this theory, based on this theory, we cannot explain. This theory is not applicable to all the examples, but it is proposed to predict the stability of the complex. Right. Coming to the limitations. What are the limitations of Sedgwick theory? And you can see here in the example right side, Ml4 complex, L is a monodentate ligand, and if you see here, we have already gone through the postulates, that is, ligand is a electron pair donor, metal is a electron pair acceptor. So what happens? Thereby there will be accumulation of negative charge on the metal, because due to the donation of electron pairs to the central metal atom, what happens? It will produce the accumulation of negative charge on the metal atom. For example, in this case Ml4, there are 4 ligands. 4 ligands will donate the 6 pair of electrons to the metal atom. So thereby the metal would become negative charge. But such condition is unlike. Usually metal is a electropositive nature. Metals are by nature itself, they are electropositive. Then how they accept the electron pairs from the ligands? That means here for this statement there is no explanation from the Sedgwick theory. no explanation for the accumulation of negative charge on the metal, right? Even though the metal is a electropositive in nature, how they accepts electron pairs from the ligands, that was the objection. But for that there is no explanation for the Sedgwick theory, right? The second most limitation is EAN rule. EAN rule, even though he has tried to explain the stabilities of various complexes based on the EAN concept, but unfortunately what happened? This EAN rule is not applicable to all the examples, right? EAN rule is not applicable to all the examples. There are several examples in which the complexes are stable even though the EAN number is not equal to the noble gas configuration, right? The third limitation for the Sedgwick theory is he does not explain the other characteristics of the complexes. Like, this theory does not predict the magnetic property of the complex, and this theory does not explain the color properties and does not explain the structure of the complex, as well as and he does not predict the type of metal orbitals which may be involved in the bonding. That means he did not concentrate on the type of metal orbital which may be involved in the bonding. So these are the limitations of Sedgwick theory, right? Just you summarize what you have learned about this Sedgwick theory. Right now I think you are feeling quite comfort with what we have gone through the concept, that is Sedgwick theory, in this video. Now you are comfort with the Sedgwick concept. What is Sedgwick theory, what are the postulates, and what is EAN rule. I think now you are comfort with all these concepts. If you have any doubts, please post your doubts in the comment section, then you will be given answers later. Finally, thank you for going through this video presentation. Thank you. Nurture the nature for the future.